Good evening, everyone, and I'm so sorry I can't be there in person, but I would love to have been there. Unfortunately, we're stuck in Johannesburg. There's been industrial action. We can't go anywhere for another 24 hours. Still, it's very good to be able to deliver some good news about chronic pain. So I'm Dr. Stephanie Barrett, consultant rheumatologist at the London Clinic, and I'm a past president of the rheumatology section of the Royal Society of Medicine. I am so delighted to say that things have turned around since the last conference here about painful peripheral neuropathy. So there has been a large study of patients using neuromodulation, and the results are very encouraging. Elliot will go into that in much more detail. I will tell you a little bit about rTMS and how we've been using it. So it's a very safe, non-invasive brain stimulation technique that involves the use of a magnetic coil, which also delivers a series of rapid magnetic pulses to a specific brain area. In the context of chronic pain, rTMS has been shown to be effective in reducing pain intensity and improving quality of life in pain sufferers. It has been approved by the FDA and NICE for the treatment of depression and OCD, and we are hoping to apply to NICE to ask them to approve it for pain. We started to use this technique of neuromodulation for pain 5 years ago in collaboration with the rTMS Psychiatric Centre in Harley Street. I sent my patients with chronic pain to the psychiatric centre. They also had depression, but what was notable was the pain improved dramatically after 20 sessions of low-frequency stimulation to the right dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. People who'd suffered from widespread body pain for years, for the first time, had a means to switch off their miserable daily pain using this non-drug, non-invasive and safe tool of rTMS. In 2020, Tanwa et al. Studied 90 patients with severe fibromyalgia, severe body pain, randomizing into sham and rTMS groups. There was a significant improvement in the real rTMS group with pain relief lasting at least 6 months. That was as far as they studied the patients to. It possibly went on longer than that. At that point, I began to set up the rTMS and PMS treatment centre at the London Clinic, and we've been able to pioneer rTMS and peripheral magnetic stimulation at 116 Harley Street. Since then, we've treated and studied in detail more than 15 patients with 20 sessions of rTMS, and we've had remarkable breakthroughs. Elliot will speak much more about this in his talk. So we've had, for instance, corporate lawyers who've been signed off for a year or more, and they've been able to go back to work full time. We've had mothers and grandmothers who have been unable to look after their children and their grandchildren. They've been able to go back to their activities and be part of their families. The upside of this is so enormous to see people going back to where they were before they had the illness. So the other benefits of rTMS that we have found are relief from exhaustion, severe fatigue, sleep disturbance, and brain fog. The mechanism by which rTMS works to reduce chronic pain is by modulation of pain processing in the brain. The magnetic pulses are delivered by the rTMS coil after the activity and altering the activity of the neurons in the brain, leading to changes in a way that pain signals are processed and perceived. The magnetic fields produced by the rTMS penetrate the scalp and skull to reach the brain, where they induce small electric currents in the specific target areas which are involved in pain processing. These include the primary sensory cortex, somatosensory cortex, the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex, and the insula. By applying repetitive magnetic pulses to these areas, rTMS can modulate the activity of neurons and of the function of neural networks involved in pain perception and modulation. They normalize abnormal pain processing and reduce pain sensitivity, and also they enhance the brain's natural inhibitory processes, which were present before the chronic pain kicked in. The brain also becomes much more plastic and able to build more healthy, non-chronic, amplified pain pathways. Moreover, rTMS can also modulate the release of neurotransmitters such as endogenous opioids, which can have analgesic effects. Several studies have investigated the use of rTMS for chronic pain, including neuropathic pain. A large diabetic study showed improvement, and several other studies which Elliot will go through in more detail. So in summary, rTMS has been shown to be very effective in reducing pain intensity and improving quality of life in individuals with fibromyalgia, neuropathic pain, and several other pain syndromes, which previously have not responded to medication, physiotherapy, etc. So what we have become experts in addition to the rTMS, is the peripheral magnetic stimulation. So we've set this up. We're the only centre in the UK using peripheral magnetic stimulation for rheumatology patients. Both Elliot and I worked with the University of Maastricht, and we are going to set up courses in PMS in the future to train other individuals. So the PMS works to relieve pain in peripheral neuropathy. It's not fully understood. However, it is thought that the electrical impulses produced by the PMS can interfere with the transmission of pain signals along the afferent nerves, thereby reducing the sensation of pain. PMS may also modulate the activity of certain regions in the brain involved in pain processing, such as the thalamus and the primary somatosensory cortex. By modulating the activity of these regions, peripheral magnetic stimulation reduces the perception of pain. And this is what we didn't know before, that the peripheral application of the coil could affect brain activity. So this has been shown on PET-CT scans and using PMS and rTMS. A study published in the European Journal of Pain in 2019 used PET-CT scans to investigate changes of brain activity in patients with peripheral neuropathy. They underwent peripheral magnetic stimulation treatment, and the study found that the PMS led to changes in brain activity and pain processing, particularly in the thalamus and the insula. A further study in pain in 2020 used PET-CT scans to investigate changes of brain activity in patients with fibromyalgia who underwent rTMS treatment. The study found that TMS led to changes in brain activity in regions involved in the pain processing, such as the thalamus and the prefrontal cortex. So on to functional MRI studies. A study in the Journal of Pain, 2012, found that rTMS in neuropathic patients led to changes in brain activity in regions involved in pain processing, such as the primary somatosensory cortex and the anterior cingulate cortex. A study in pain in 2015 used functional MRI to investigate changes in brain activity in patients with chronic pain who underwent PMS treatment. The study found that the PMS treated patients led to brain activity in the regions involved in pain, such as the thalamus and the insula. A further study in 2018 used functional MRI to investigate brain changes in patients with fibromyalgia who underwent rTMS treatment. The results were very encouraging, and a significant number recovered from their pain. It was also noted that the rTMS led to changes in brain activity in the areas of pain processing, such as the thalamus and anterior cingulate cortex. So we have good science showing that the rTMS hits the right areas, and we now have some excellent studies showing that it works in practice. So both rTMS, which is the application of the coil to the skull and to the brain, does have a significant effect in patients with painful peripheral neuropathy. Well, this is an absolute breakthrough. We've been using the peripheral magnetic stimulation to treat people with the peripheral neurological pain as well. So we're going to take this forward, do more studies, approach NICE, and offer this service to people who are now suffering from this terrible condition. So I hope that gave you some background to what we've been doing, why we use TMS, why we believe in it so much. And I'm also very grateful to have Elliot at the meeting with you tonight. And Elliot Nation is the TMS osteopath, and he's done marvelous things with our patients, and he'll explain much, much more about how things work. So thank you very much for listening. All the best.